Joe Biden will be such a president. With our voices and our votes, let us now write the next chapter of the American story, one of hope, of love, of justice. If we do so, we might just save our country and our souls.
So that was a moment from tonight's telecast. Jon Meacham, Pulitzer Prize-winning presidential historian and author, is with us. He is the author of the new book, His Truth is Marching On, John Lewis and the Power of Hope. It's a revealing portrait of the now late congressman, which we are happy to say comes out next week. So, John, other than truly loving biographies, which were straight up commissioned by some of the prominent political families of our lifetimes that you and I know and love, I couldn't remember another historian in my lifetime, especially a Pulitzer recipient, someone of indisputable heft, endorsing a political candidate. Talk to me about your decision to do so tonight and amid these times.
Right. Well, as Vice President Biden said tonight, democracy's on the ballot. And to record history doesn't mean you're removed from it. I'd argue that it actually creates an even greater obligation than one might otherwise have to contribute where one can. And Vice President Biden very generously asked me to do this tonight. And we've been friendly for a long time. I was honored to do it. And I totally spoke from my heart, my soul, my core. It's, for what it's worth, just behind the curtain, I was not asked to make any point. They gave me a time limit and a subject. They asked me to define the soul of America, because I'd done that book a couple of years ago. And that was it. There was no requirement that I endorse the nominee or talk about the nominee. But if you are engaged in this conversation that we're having in America right now, which is how do we restore a balance of power between good and evil, and between light and dark, and between our better angels and our worst instincts, and that is the conversation, then it naturally leads you intellectually, emotionally, politically to the recognition that we have a stark choice here. And it's between someone who has mastered, didn't create, but has mastered and exacerbated the worst of our character, the incumbent president, and a good and decent man who's not perfect. You know, he'll be the first person to tell you that. But politics is the art of the possible. And Joe Biden is clearly the best person to send to the pinnacle of power here to try to restore a sense of conversation. Not that the status quo was great. This is not an establishmentarian point, and compromise is not always the best way to go. But you and I have talked before, politics in America, through a remarkably fertile period that actually helped create the civil rights movement and helped create the liberation movements that, you know, from Seneca to Selma to Stonewall, a broadening sense of identity. The images of that identity we've seen all week. The conversation was between sort of Franklin Roosevelt over here and Ronald Reagan over here. And we debated two things in America, which was the relative role of the market and the state, and the relative projection of force against commonly agreed upon foes and rivals. And the incumbent president has blown up that conversation. I think Biden will restore that conversation, and out of that conversation will come reform.
So it's the natural extension of all the times on this and other broadcasts you've been asked by this and other hosts how much trouble we're in, and if our democracy itself, in your view, is in danger. This, at long last, answers that question.
It does. And to get personal here at this late hour, you know, I'm a Southerner. I'm obviously a white Southerner. I was born after the civil rights movement. And I like to think I would have been on the right side of that, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have been. Here I have a choice. Do I want to be on the right side of what seems to me, out of just basic common sense, is a stark choice between a path, as again, of light or of dark, of broadening what we can be or of narrowing it. It's right there, and it's on the ballot. And so I don't know what I would have done in that crisis, but at least I know what I did in this one.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.